with, how is everyone today?
Good.
And I ask specifically because, as Reverend Alex mentioned, sometimes the holidays can do things with our emotions. And I, much like you, used to have the holiday blues. And one of the reasons that, for me personally, that I used to feel the holiday blues is, like she said, it's this feeling of being alone, right? Now, this month, the theme is wholeness, and wholeness has a connotation of oneness. And today, specifically, what we're talking about is community. So let us begin with a test. Tell me, yes I do, it's the school teacher in me. So I'm going to give you a couple of words, and I want you to tell me what's similar about them. Then I'm going to give you some phrases, and I want you to tell me what's similar about them. Let us start with community, commune, communication, communion. So they all have that same root word, which means with. Regardless of if it's a commune, it is a group of like-minded people who are together with one another. Communication, in our speaking to one another, we must be with one another, because the moment she speaks to me and I turn away, I am no longer with her, I'm no longer present. So regardless of what it is, it means to be with. Communion, you are taking the body and blood to be one with God. So here we are with this thing called community, to be with one another in sacred service. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm going to do my best to be politically correct. In light of recent political changes, many things cause us to not feel like we are with one another, right? So let's shift to the phrases. One for all and all for one. United we stand. United States of America. A house divided against itself, or a kingdom divided against itself, cannot stand. What do they have in common?
The need for unity.
Some aspect of unity and, what did you say? Unity. So this idea of one for all and all for one. We are together. A house divided. So if we are in a house, whatever that house may be, it cannot function. Much like, suppose I say, actually, I'm going to 3 steps back. When I started off the month at CSL Baltimore, I had a visual. I'm going to use that visual now, okay? I want you to tell me what this is. No?
Holy sandwich.
It's not sandwich. What is this? It's the body of Christ.
Broken bread.
I'm done. It's going to be that kind of day. So what is this, though? It's bread. Now, is there anyone who says that it's not bread?
It's a plastic bag.
Okay, other than the plastic bag. Is there anyone who says that this is something other than that? Now, the reason I ask is because we are surrounded by examples of oneness, wholeness, and unity. No one here said what I see, flour, eggs, sugar, yeast, etc. I don't see the time that it took to bake the bread. Everyone in here is wearing a garment. Shirt, a blouse, something. And when we see it, we see a shirt, a blouse, a garment. We don't see individual threads, but we know it's made up of individual threads. The gentleman played a guitar, but we see it as a guitar. We don't see it as individual strings and how many pieces of wood went to create it and how much time and individual parts. We drove here in vehicles, cars, SUVs, etc., and we see them as whole already, but we don't see them as individual pieces and parts until something happens. Much like this thing we call our body temple. We see it as a whole, we feel it as a whole until something happens. I need to go get this checked. And then it cries out, pay attention to me, as if it is something separate. But other than that, we pay no attention to it. We go about our day and we're not aware of our pinky toe. We're not aware of our left ear or whatever until something happens, until our ears are cold. And then it's, I need a hat or earmuffs because my ears are cold. We are surrounded with all of these examples of oneness and unity and wholeness in everything. If we really stop to think, we are right now in a room, but the room is in a building, and the building is on a street, and the street is in a community. How are we not connected to the people on the other side of the planet if this building is connected to, which is connected to, which is connected to? Is there anywhere on the face of the planet that we are not connected? That breath someone else breathed. That oxygen, that carbon dioxide, that which I give out, the plants take in. And what they exhale, I inhale. We inhale. How can we truly be alone? Now, I know the emotional side of us kicks in and we feel alone. And that's when we feel that pain that's here. Or when the doctor says something's up with the knee and all of our attention goes to surgery. I'm going to have surgery? Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And we focus on this one thing, this one aspect, that one tooth that I really don't want to go to the dentist because I know they're going to tell me I need a root canal. And it becomes so loud that I can't enjoy my meal. I can't enjoy a conversation with a friend because this thing is doing everything it can to make me pay attention to it. And that's what our emotions are doing every time we get down into the dumps and down into the blues and down into whatever, is we are letting this thing that's painful call for our attention. And one of the reasons why it hurts so much is because we don't give it loving attention. We tend to ignore it because going to it means I have to acknowledge it. Going to the dentist, I have to acknowledge that the dentist is going to tell me I need a root canal and I really don't want a root canal. For whatever reason, I don't want one. They hurt. So I avoid it. But in avoiding going to the dentist, is that stopping this from hurting? No. So why avoid it? It is far easier. I think I mentioned this several months ago. I don't know. Sometimes things overlap. Any former Catholics in the room? Okay. So there's this idea that has baffled me for the longest time. And I'm going to mention this because, so Tracy, Sarah, and I go to New York a couple of weeks ago, right? And it's like Halloween. I don't know if we were there for Halloween or right before Halloween. And Sarah is a sheriff. She's been here before and she's a sheriff. Now, and she's probably going to see this video and be upset with me, but sorry. She's a sheriff who has a gun, who goes out into the world and does stuff that sheriffs do. Right? That's her job. And we go see a spooky movie. And I have to do this. This is Sarah. This is where I'm sitting. That's how scared Sarah was. Now, being the metaphysical person that I am, my mind immediately starts to race with, when real life stuff hits the fan, she's unfazed. But this fictional Hollywood magic thing terrifies her. And it made me start to think about, how often do we let our imagination scare us far more than we let real life scare us? Meaning, how often do we let the what-ifs of life terrify us? For example, because this has been something I've been wrestling with. We have a new president-elect. And I've been talking to a lot of people who have a variety of feelings about this. And 99% of their concerns, as of right now, are what ifs. Well, what if he? Well, what if he? Well, what if he hasn't done any of it yet? So, in talking about it as a community, because one of the things that, like, I remember from the Bible, where two or more are gathered in the name of. Now, the name meaning the nature of. So if we are talking about in the name or the nature of the Christ, the name or the nature of truth, the name or the nature of love, where two or more people are gathered in the name of love, where two or more thoughts, ideas, concepts are gathered in the name of love, love is right there. But the moment we go to the what if, I'm no longer in union with, I'm no longer of like mind, I am now in discord or disharmony, I am no longer at ease, I'm at dis-ease. So it behooves me to say, in this present, right here moment, in this breath, do I have anything to be afraid of? Do I have anything to worry about? Do I have anything to forgive? Last week, Diane talked about drop the rock, right? And as she was talking, it immediately made me think of, there's a quote or passage where Buddha refers to anger or vengeance or whatnot is like having a chunk of hot coal in your hand with the intention of being so mad at someone you're going to throw the coal at them. But while holding the coal and while taking aim, who's being burned? Why do we still choose to hold on to this? While she was talking, this story ran through my mind that Tracy and I were talking about, because Tracy loves the story. She never tells it right, but she loves the story. There are two monks, an older monk and a younger monk, and they're walking through the forest, and they come to a river, and there's a woman standing at the river, and she cannot get across, and the older monk picks her up and carries her across the river, sets her down, and they keep on walking. The younger monk walks, and eventually the younger monk gets so ticked off that he can no longer keep his silence. Why did you disobey our vows and touch a woman and blah, 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 blah. And the older monk takes a breath and looks at him and says, I set her down at the riverbank. Why are you still carrying her? Why do we do that? Why is it so much easier for us to continue to carry the very thing that makes us feel less whole? We can't be, see, there's the funny little paradox. We cannot be anything less than whole. We may not feel it. We cannot be anything less than perfect. We may not feel it. We cannot be anything less than any of that, the truth of our being. But we can feel something counter. In Science of Mind magazine, there are the we believes, right? And we believe number 4 says, we believe that heaven is within, and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. You could replace that heaven concept with anything. We believe that God is within, and we will experience it to the degree that we believe that love is who and what we are, and we will experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. Any word can be, until we become conscious of it, conscious of the truth. If I were to say, Claire, did you know that such and such gave you, they wrote a check, but you weren't here last week, they wrote you a check for $10 million. Here, she now has $10 million. But if she never cashes it, never does anything with it, what does it do? If you are God, source, spirit, love, personified in human form, and your conscious mind says, but I'm not worthy, but I'm not good enough, but I don't deserve. But see, you don't know my past. But see, if you really knew me, you would know that you see, I don't need to know any of that. I don't need to know anything about your past, because I see you for who and what you are today. I see you for who and what you can be. Because as source in the flesh, we are limited by nothing. Nothing. I often tell the story of Nick Vujicic, a guy with no arms and no legs, whose doctor told him the boy's going to die before 18 months or whatever, and his parents were like, okay, then we'll take him home and he'll die at home. And they took him home, and mom was like, look, I'm not doing anything for you. You want it, you get it. And they taught him independence. And though he went through his life and felt moments of great despair, nonetheless he persevered to the degree that this man now is married and has children, has skydived. I don't know. He surfs and golfs and swims. Tracy won't swim. Tracy's got both her arms and legs and she won't swim. He has neither and swims. He has no arms and no legs and he golfs, and I have, and I'm not doing this. What is it that causes us to have infinite possibility, infinite potentiality at our fingertips? But, so here we are as this thing called community. And I remember one of those times I was kicked out of church when I was a Christian. I don't know which time it was, but I've been kicked out many times. I was at Bible study and I asked the question, I am not my brother's keeper. Now this passage where, the whole Cain and Abel thing. I'm not my brother's keeper. Be asking me where he is. You're God. You already should know where he is. Looking at me. I got stuff to do. But we are our brothers and sisters' keepers. We are. And as a community, and I mean as a global community, we have gotten to a point where we see but will not act. We hear but will not act. And it comes down to, for me, for myself, when I see or hear in me the cry for attention, the cry for love, do I pay attention? Because if I don't pay attention to when my inner child is asking me to pay attention to it, leave me alone, go do something, and I won't listen, then clearly when someone else comes to me and says, Ray, can I talk to you? Oh, of course. But my mind is somewhere else and I cannot be in communion with this person because I'm not in communion with me. So when we come together and gather together in sacred community, what does that mean? Because ultimately, Reverend Alex can put whatever on paper and on boards, but it comes down to, if I come into this place, what am I stepping into this place as? Not just what do I want to get, because we're all here to get. We are here to get recharged, rejuvenated, revitalized, renewed. That's part of what this spiritual practice is about. You feel run down, you plug in and you get charged back up. That's part of the process. And it happens to everyone. It baffles me the number of people who think that ministers are like the ever-ready bunny. Like we're always just beating the drum and marching and like everything's fine all day, every day, all day, every day, everything's great. We go through stuff too. Don't laugh at me. We go through stuff too. And it's like we have to come together and say, how are things with you? Things with you? Okay, this is what's going on in my world. And we rejuvenate one another. So it happens to all of us. But the question is, when I step into sacred community, which is ultimately everywhere, there is nowhere that God is not. That means when you go into Giant, or Weiss, or Target, or Starbucks, you have the ability to change and transmogrify the very atmosphere of that building, of that room. You have the ability to send your consciousness forward when you are on the metro and you see someone having difficulty with whatever, a child or two people arguing, and you can send a blessing. I've said it before, when we're walking down the street and we see a homeless person, what is the thing that most people tend to do? We avert our eyes. And the question is, why? Is it because I don't want them to see me? Because eye contact means, I now have to address you and tell you I don't have any money. And I really don't want to do that, because I do have money. I don't want to lie. So I'd rather just not look. Or is it that I see you in me, and by seeing that, I see the place in me that could be this, and I don't want to see that. So I avert my eyes. I ignore you. I pretend that you are no longer there. You are now less than even human because I refuse to look at you. But we have the ability that I don't have to change their life. I don't have to heal their life. Healing is already in the atmosphere. All I have to do is bless them. What do I have to give? Everything. In the words that I speak, bless you. And I don't have to say it to them. I can say it as I know there's only one power, and that power is right there in and as this person. And I know that God is creative beyond the limit, beyond, and I can bless them. And that's far more than that dollar could ever do. That's sacred community. So we come here to learn that when we go out of these doors, we have the ability to change and transform every corner of this planet, from the north to the south to the east to the west. And that's why I tell people, yes, right now, Donald Trump is the president-elect. So what? So what? It is what is, and we don't have to know every little bit of what. I have a liver in here somewhere. I've never seen it, but I trust that there's one in there. Because I'm told in health and biology that, so there's one in there. Where is it? I don't really know, so don't ask me. I think it's over here somewhere, because I'm not sure. And it does whatever it does, but if you really quiz me and ask me, I don't know. I know it cleans toxins. Which ones? I don't know. All of this stuff is going on in our body. We're not breathing ourselves, we're being breathed. We're not consciously beating our heart. There is something far more powerful, far more all that is beating our heart and moving the blood through our system and causing white blood cells to attack things that are foreign to it without our participation. So there is something that is aware of everything that's going on every level. So what am I called to do as a member of sacred community? If whatever this is turns, because as of right now it hasn't, but if it does, then I'm ready to mobilize. Whatever that means, picket, protest, petition. If that's what it calls for, it means I become a white blood cell and I attack that which is foreign. And anything that is foreign to us in consciousness, hate, I have no use for this. Pain and despair, to the degree that it is now sucking life away from us. Because pain happens. I stubbed my knee, oh, ow, that hurt. I would beat the drum again, but I go through whatever I go through, and sometimes the body gets worn down, and there's pain involved in that. I'm not sleeping well, I'm in pain. That happens. Suffering does not have to happen. Suffering is when we deny that the pain is there. Suffering is when we deny that the pain is whatever the pain is, or whatever's causing it. Now it turns into suffering. Now it turns into an open wound that is festering. So any thought that is causing this to materialize, to manifest, to demonstrate, is the exact same thing as this person, this policy, this whatever that is causing discord in the mind of humanity. So my task, this is why we treat. Treatment has nothing to do with specifically, it has nothing, oh, that actually hurt. It has nothing to do with willing something into being. Truth is, I know that I know that I know. And in my knowing, things change to match that knowing. How many people in here at some point, like art or music or something, there was a moment where you felt, I don't know that I can do this. poetry, something where there was a moment of, I don't know that I have the talent, the skills, a job that you wanted, but something, I don't know if I am qualified to do this. And so you doubted yourself. And in that place of doubt, we don't move forward. But the moment you knew, I know that I can do this. And even if I don't, I know that I'm willing to step forward and give it my best attempt. That now the courage, the energy, the vitality, and the passion and drive to say, do it, steps forward. And then you find, I could do stand-up comedy. I could sing that song. I could go on that audition. I could pick up a guitar and play. I could, and I did. So sacred community is when, as an individual, I am in commune with every thought that I think, and every emotion that I feel, and every action that this body makes. We are of one accord, thought, word, emotion, and deed, one accord. Because if this is not in accord, and I step into this room, and we all represent a guitar string, I am the string that is no longer in tune. And everyone else is playing perfectly. Meow. Till I come in. So my task is to get me back in tune. So that when I step into sacred community, wherever that is and however it shows up, that I know that I am representing truth principles, that I know I am literally being the best that I can be. Because that's the only way we can help one another, is I have to be at my best to help you at yours. And because when you fall down, and if I fall down with you, and we're both laying on the floor, it doesn't do anything. That's sympathy. Oh, let me get down here and cry with you. Oh, sympathy helps no one. Empathy is, I understand why you're there. Let me help you to the chair. Talk to me. You know what? Let's walk to the park. I got you. That's what these are. It's a sign of, I don't have to be you to feel and support you. I don't have to be whatever. I don't have to be Muslim. I don't have to be black or white. I don't have to be gay or straight or transgender to be human. That's sacred community. That's why we're here. Let's ground in truth. Simply allowing ourselves to be breathed. Knowing that in this breath, everything is already whole, perfect, and complete. Whole, perfect, and complete because God itself is wholeness, completeness, and perfection. And we are that personified. We are that in human form. Knowing that each and every one of us is here by divine, right, and perfect order. The words that I speak send waves of vibration through our body temple, through the walls of this building, out and beyond into the community, the city, the nation, and the planet. And those vibrations are vibrations of sacred community. Vibrations that say, I know that I am here on purpose, with a purpose, living a life of passion, bliss, and a reason for being. Words and vibrations that say, I know that I, to the best of my ability, am speaking and thinking and acting and feeling to the highest degree possible, that I may vibrate at the highest degree possible. That the Buddha consciousness or Christ consciousness, the very I am that I am consciousness, is moving in, around, and through me, showing up as me right now. And this is not the truth only for me, it is the truth for every single one of us in this room, every single one of us in this building, every single one of us on this planet, and in any other universe, multiverse, anything, everywhere. God is all there is. There's a saying in Hindu text, Tat Tavam Asi. You are it. You are the all that is. And I stand here speaking this word knowing that I am it. And that if I am it, all that it has is available to me. Infinite wisdom, infinite creativity, infinite possibility. The ability to change and transform this world through my thoughts, my words, my actions. So I stand in sacred community, knowing this truth for every single one of us. We are here for a reason. We are here for one another. We are here. I speak these words in gratitude, knowing that they are not simply my words, but they are the words of the I Am, speaking through me, in me, and as me, speaking about itself. And this is why, with confidence, I can release these words, knowing that it is already done in the mind of God. It is already so. And together we say, and so it is.